On Easter Sunday, Donald Trump called the Pope weak. He posted on Truth Social calling Pope Leo, quote, weak on crime and terrible for foreign policy. He told the Pope to get his act together. He claimed that Leo only has his job because of him. And then, and this is the part that really broke the internet, he posted an AI generated image of himself dressed as Jesus laying hands on a sick person with American flags in the background on Easter Sunday. And then he deleted it. And when reporters asked him what image that image said about him, he said, "Oh, I'm not making this up." He thought it was him as a doc. Now, everyone is covering this like it is a political story, the church versus state story that we always go, a Trump being unhinged story. I'm covering it like what it actually is, which is a governance collision between two completely different systems of authority, and neither one recognizes the other's legitimacy. And that is a governance problem of the highest order. Now, before we continue in this video, I want to remind you that I know that a lot of people do not like Donald Trump. I am not talking about him as a person when I'm speaking about governance. I'm speaking about the office that he holds, because the president of the United States has legitimate governance over this country. Whether we like him or not isn't the point of this video. The point of this video is what happens when you have two separate offices of authority that don't actually have power over the other, and when they don't agree, what's the protocol for that? Okay, so let's talk about the sequence of events that happened first. Pope Leo is the first American-born pope, born in Chicago. He was elected in April of 2025 after Pope Francis died. He has been very vocal about peace, specifically against the U.S.-Israel war with Iran. On Palm Sunday, he said, "God does not listen to the prayers of those who wage war." Trump threatened that a whole civilization will die tonight in Iran before a ceasefire. Leo called that threat truly unacceptable, which it was. Jesus Christ. Then here comes good old Pete Hegseth. He was framing the Iran war as divinely supported, saying that God was on their side. Leo pushed back hard, saying that Jesus is the king of peace. No one can use him to justify war. Then, on Easter Sunday, Trump unleashed calling Leo weak on crime, which, can I just, for a second, sidetrack? To say someone is weak on crime would mean that they would have to have authority over crime rates. That is not something that Leo has authority over. And this is the first of many mistakes that Trump makes when he talks about people being weak or strong or positioned on things, because he assumes that they have authority over things they do not. He just doesn't understand governance, period. So he called him weak, terrible, and said that he should focus on being a great pope, not a politician. Trump also claimed that Leo wasn't even on the list to be pope, that the church chose him specifically to deal with Trump. He said, "If I wasn't in the White House, Leo wouldn't be in the Vatican." Leo's response on the papal plane while he was on his way to Algeria was, "I have no fear of the Trump administration or speaking out loudly. I'm not a politician, but I do have a moral duty to speak." It was important for you to understand this sequence, because this sequence tells you everything about who is operating from what kind of authority. Okay, so here's what most people are missing. This isn't a Trump versus the Pope as personalities kind of thing. This is two completely different governance systems that have never had to formally recognize each other's authority, now in a direct collision. Trump operates from political sovereign authority. He's elected. Military power, executive borders, law, all those things. Leo operates from a moral sovereign authority. 1.4 billion Catholics globally, spiritual legitimacy, centuries of institutional weight, no military, no borders, no enforcement kind of mechanism. Neither one has authority over the other, okay? Neither one is recognizing the other's jurisdiction. And both of them are claiming governance over some of the same people, specifically 72 million American Catholics, many of whom voted for Donald Trump. So what's the governance problem? When two systems of authority claim governance over the same people with no framework for how those systems interact, this is the kind of beef that you get, okay? Conflict, confusion, testing loyalty, People being forced to choose. 72 million American Catholics are now being asked implicitly, whose authority do you recognize? The man you voted for or the man you pray under? This isn't a political question, it's a governance question. Okay? There is no framework for how the US government and the Vatican navigate disagreement. And so instead of governance, you get Twitter beef on Easter Sunday. So I want to walk you through the 3 layers of truth framework that I have. And if you haven't watched that video, I'll link it here so that you can watch it, because all the truth that the realities that we live in are based off of are based on 3 distinct versions of truth: absolute truth, subjective truth, and distorted truth. And so the claim by Donald Trump that if he wasn't in the White House, Leo wouldn't be the Vatican or wouldn't be in the Vatican, this is where the 3 layers of truth come in. The absolute truth, which is something that is true no matter what, no matter how anybody experiences, this is what is actually true. The absolute truth in this situation is papal elections happen through a conclave of cardinals. The conclave is a closed process governed entirely by canon law. No sitting president in the United States has any formal role, influence, or input in who becomes the Pope. 0. Okay? That is the truth. The subjective truth is that Trump genuinely believes his existence on the world stage influences everything around him. That is his subjective experience of his own power. Subjective truth is how people experience absolute truth. So that's what that means. Distorted truth, which is the most dangerous, is when someone says, my experience of the truth is what's true for everybody. It doesn't matter what anybody else is experiencing. My truth is 100% right all the time. The distorted truth here is that he's broadcasting his subjective truth as an objective fact to an audience of millions of people, including Catholics who understand exactly how conclaves work. The distortion is that he is claiming credit for an institution that predates the United States by over 1,000 years. Okay. The second claim, Leo was put there because he's an American and they thought that he would be the best one to deal with me. The absolute truth here is that Leo was elected after 4 ballots over 2 days, one of the shortest conclaves in modern history. His election reflected the Cardinal's genuine assessment of people who should, the 1.4 billion people that he would have to lead. The subjective truth here is that Trump centers himself in every global narrative. In his reality, everything that happens in the world is in relationship to him. He does truly believe that the world revolves around him. That is his subjective truth. The distorted truth here is that he is rewriting the governance of an ancient institution to make himself the protagonist in the story. Sit with that for a second. Claim number 3, posting himself as Jesus on Easter Sunday. Not only is this tone deaf as fuck, this is a governance claim. Jesus is the ultimate authority figure in Christian governance, the source from which the Pope derives his moral authority. Trump posting himself as that figure is not a mistake. It is not a meme. It is an unconscious claim to the same moral authority that Leo holds. When you realize you can't win the argument on Leo's terms, you try to claim his source of power. That is a governance move, even if Trump didn't consciously understand it as one, because he doesn't understand many things consciously, okay? Distorted truth at this level is not just misinformation. It is a governance strategy. When you can't control someone's behavior, you try to control the narrative about why they have authority in the first place. And the Trump administration is very good about trying to control those narratives. Okay, so I want to talk about what Pope Leo is doing right in this situation, right? He's doing what most leaders can't, and he didn't take the bait, which is very difficult when you're going toe to toe with someone like DJT, okay? He didn't take it, it doesn't have anything to do with him being afraid or because he was trying to be diplomatic, but because he's operating from a completely different source of authority than the one Donald Trump was trying to engage. Leo said, I'm not afraid of the Trump administration. He said, I'm not a politician and I have no intention of getting into a debate with him. He said mutual respect is the path that enables everyone to walk together. He kept on traveling, doing his business, going to Algeria. He kept doing his job. He did not match Trump's energy, Trump's register, or Trump's frame. He was just like, I'm not going to do this with you. Okay. And I want to walk you through my framework that I've created a TED Talk on, which is this right for me? An internal authority practice, stopping in any moment before you make a decision and asking yourself, is this right for me? Leo asked himself, is engaging Trump's narrative right for me? No. Is defending my election right for me? No. The conclave speaks for itself. Is abandoning my position on peace to appease a political leader right for me? No. Is continuing to do the work I was called to do right for me? Yes. Every response Leo gave him came from that internal check, not from what Donald Trump wanted, not from what the political moment demanded, from his own sovereign authority over his own purpose. Here's the contrast. Trump needed Leo to react, to defend, to engage, because that would have made them equal combatants in the same arena. And Leo was like, I'm not even going into this arena. Okay. And that refusal to participate is more powerful than any rebuttal could have been. Internal authority isn't about being passive. Leo has been very vocal. He's been calling out the Iran war since it started. Internal authority means you know exactly which battles are yours and which ones you do not have to engage in. Leo didn't engage in this one because he didn't need to. His authority doesn't come from Trump's opinion of him, and he knows that. So I also want to talk about the phrase that Pope Leo used, which was just banger, bars on bars on bars. He said, or he warned that the delusion of omnipotence is driving the Iran war and other global conflicts. Leaders who believe that their power is without limits, without consequence, and without accountability to anything outside of themselves. So what does this look like when we're talking about governance, right? A delusion of omnipotence is when the face of power confuses itself with the source of power. Because let's not get it twisted. Donald Trump is currently the face of power for the US, but he is not the source of power. It is everybody who acts behind him that is the source of power. But as the face of power, he has real significant military power. He has the power of the US military behind him. But military power is borrowed from the people who consent to use it, fund it, and fight in it. Which, let's be honest, most Americans did not consent to a Donald Trump presidency. That's what the Electoral College is, and that's why it has to go. The moment people withdraw that consent, the power evaporates. Leo understands this because the Catholic Church has survived 2,000 years of political leaders who thought that they could control the Catholic Church. Kings, emperors, dictators, every one of them thought they had power over the church. Every one of them eventually learned that moral authority and political authority are not the same thing, and political authority without moral legitimacy doesn't last. It's also really important to note here too that with the work that I do not believe in organized religion. I do believe at some point that the Catholic Church will fall. I just don't, I'm a spiritual person, and too much of what religion has created is to seek authority outside of yourself, which is in Jesus or God or Christ or different things like that, to look outside of yourself for answers. I do believe that the Catholic Church will eventually dissolve or evaporate, but I don't believe that it has less power than political authority. I do believe that it has a somewhat sturdy foundation because it is rooted in moral and spiritual authority, which is far more powerful in reality than political authority. I just feel like I need to put that out there so y'all don't get it twisted. I'm not a religious person. And I'm not defending the Catholic Church and any of the crimes that the Catholic Church might have committed in any of this. We're just talking about this from a governance standpoint, okay? So I want to talk about something that I call the fall guy connection. If you haven't watched my video on what the fall guy connection or dynamic is, I can also link that here for you to check out. Trump is performing the role of an omnipotent leader, right? But who actually put him there? I don't even want to say the voters. The Electoral College put him there, and probably some election finagling put him there, okay? But the people that voted for him, 72 million of those people are Catholic. And their Pope just told them that the man that they voted for is operating from a delusion of omnipotence. And that is not a small thing. Trump's approval rating amongst white Catholics was already falling before this, from 59% to 52% in less than a year. This stunt that he pulled, it did not help, okay? The delusion of omnipotence is what happens when you've had so much power for so long that you forget where it came from. And Pope Leo didn't invent that phrase, but he diagnosed something very real with it. And the fact that he diagnosed it out loud with his name attached to it from a plane on his way to Africa while Trump was posting Jesus memes. That tells you everything you need to know about who actually holds authority right now. Okay? This isn't just about Donald Trump and Pope Leo. Every organization that exists has this dynamic playing out at some scale. The CEO who thinks that their title gives them authority versus the employee whose expertise everyone actually listens to. The founder who built the company and still thinks they own the culture versus the culture that has evolved beyond them. The manager who demands loyalty versus the team member who has internal authority and doesn't need the manager's approval to do excellent work. The parent who demands obedience versus the child who has learned to trust their own inner knowing. What Pope Leo modeled is something that everybody needs. Know your source of authority and make sure that it's internal and not external, because Donald Trump operates fully on external authority because the man doesn't know who he is, right? Know which fights are yours and the ones that just are not there for you to fight. Don't match the energy of someone who's operating from a place of fear because it brings you down to hell, which is at their level. Keep doing your work. The work is the answer, not the way that you respond to other people in their hateful ways of being. And speak from what you actually truly value, not just from a reaction people are trying to evoke out of you. Okay? Here's what Trump revealed that every leader should avoid, amongst a million other things, pretty much everything that he does, but claiming credit for things you didn't build. Okay, this is the age of the internet. People will know if you didn't build it. Don't claim credit for it, okay? Don't attack the authority of people you can't actually control. I'll let y'all sit with that one for a second. Don't confuse the loudness of your voice with the legitimacy of your position. Just because you're talking louder doesn't mean you actually have more power. It means that you're talking louder. Stop trying to make yourself the source of someone else's authority, okay? People don't have to answer to you. Don't do that, okay? And stop needing the other person to be small in order for you to feel big. That's kind of messed up. You shouldn't do that. All right. The question for every leader who is watching this is not who do you agree with politically? The question is which one of these men is operating from internal authority and which one is operating from external validation? Because you can see it. It's pretty fucking obvious. And the one who needs the other one to react is the one who doesn't actually trust their own authority. We are watching in real time what happens when two governance systems collide and neither one has infrastructure for the collision. Trump doesn't have a framework for an institution that predates his country by 1,000 years, and he doesn't need, and the Catholic Church doesn't need his permission to exist, which is, I laugh because that's hilarious to me. Leo doesn't need one because he already knows the answer. His authority doesn't come from Trump. It never did and it never will. What this moment is revealing is something that I have been talking about for a very long time, which is the most powerful governance move you can make is to know exactly where your authority comes from and to never let someone else write the story of why you have that authority in the first place. Trump tried to write that story of Leo's authority, and Leo was like, I'm not fucking reading this. That's internal authority. That is governance by design. And that's what every leader in a boardroom, in a family, in a movement, in a country needs to understand right now. If you are building something and you're waiting for someone else to validate you to build it, this video is for you. If you're leading something and you're getting pulled into battles that have absolutely nothing to do with your mission, this video is for you. The links for you to be able to work with me inside of your organization are in my bio. Connect with me there. So let's talk about how we can get governance infrastructure in place for your place of business. And let me know in the comments, who do you think is actually winning this? And I don't mean politically, I mean who is operating from the truest sense of authority right now? And I'll see you guys in the next one.